Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Aubrey Chaps Overwatch matchup. We're going into the game relatively quick here. It's Nationals Tournament quarterfinals. Aubrey facing off against Novi. I'm one of your casters tonight, Caustic. Joining me, we have Withering.
Hello.
So this is going to be a fun map. Lijiang Tower to start it off. Pretty staple, pretty common map to start out on control. Bans for this map, we have Roadhog and Pharah.
And like we were just talking about the bans before we went live. We had a lovely conversation actually about why the bans were chosen the way they were. And Pharah ban pretty simple on this map and most control maps and most push maps. Pharah is pretty strong, and after the most recent changes, even with her numbers being nerfed a little bit, she still has insane pressure and output. Hog ban, however, seeing as what was it? You said Novi? Novi are opting to play this Zarya comp, and it looked like they were going to play Reaper too. I'm not sure what the Hog ban is for, other than possibly a protect ban for tank to not ban out the Zarya. But seeing as Raptors on this Maga, I don't think the Zarya is going to be much of a problem so long as they time their engages with bubble downtime.
Yeah, they're running this Maga on composition as the Maga's going to stomp in, is going to find the Kiriko TP, however. Blank the Reaper now currently in the sights, but Raptor is going to jump in onto the Kiriko and force out Suzu. Let's see the Kiriko is going to TP and get a bubble to keep them alive. But there was an early pick from the side of Novi, so Aubrey losing a little bit of space, but Solar finds a pick onto the Kiriko now. And it looks like Raptor's getting ready to try and aggress in one of these, this fight here. Looking to go find the Lucio. Lucio will get a bubble before they can get taken down. Solar joining along with Raptor in this first fight. Looking to try and cause some damage. Raptor's going to be forced to kite back. Mint on the side here has the pistol in hand, looking to cause some damage. Looking at primarily at the Reaper, who's seemingly going to be a little bit of a struggle for Raptor in these coming fights. Point progress still on the side for Novi currently. Illumi is going to take down Dorcas, so the side of Aubrey is without their Lucio. They are going to be able to find a pick onto the tank, but Blank is going to take down Raptor as well, so a tankless fight coming into this. Solar trying their best to sustain on the point. Is fairly low without their abilities, will get taken out by Mowgli. And that's going to force the Aubrey Chaps to kind of kite back and regroup after this little bit of a drawn-out first two fights.
One of the hardest things about this comp matchup here, Caustic, is the uptime that Raptor needs to have. It's very hard to maintain pressure on Maga. Not normally that much into Zarya, but with the combination of the Zarya, Reaper, and Emre, you need to be playing a lot more carefully and using your natural cover more effectively so you don't take too much poke damage on the in. Very good kill there onto Mowgli, but unfortunately traded out immediately back on Darlington on the off angle, finding 3 picks, I think, in this fight.
I believe it was 3 picks. They found a pick onto Mint, as well as some others. The Kiri here for Aubrey falling fairly low. You're going to see a Kitsune Rush get popped from Novi along with the grab of Lumi. And that's going to seemingly end that fight. So Aubrey are a little bit down just to start off this fight. You're gonna see the Death Blossom get popped near spawn doors, along with the Emery ult. The beat gets popped as well from Novi, and it looks like Solar's gonna be able to force an overtime touch. Raptor's gonna get taken down before they can pop their ults. And now it's just seeing how long Solar can stall on the point, and if Mint can potentially get back to touch with the Tracer. Dorcas tries to, but they will not be able to, so that is the first point of Lijiang going over to the side of Novi. And we will be heading to... I typically call this Temple myself, but...
So, DJ,
alright, well that's kind of stupid.
What's your favorite animal?
What, Temple?
Yeah?
It's like a temple, what do you mean?
I mean, maybe you
What's
should
the
call
actual
it,
name for it?
Gardens.
Tree frogs?
Gardens, okay, Gardens makes more sense.
Yeah. Gardens, everyone's favorite map. Everyone loves gardens. But, for the side of the Chaps, it's going to be very difficult to get any sort of value in with this Maga comp unless they are able to provide a Raptor the space to walk up and hold as much area and denial from the side of Novi. without taking too much damage and chip on the walk up and burning too many abilities, which is a struggle just because of how much pressure this Emre is going to apply on his off angles, and the Reaper just existing in the front line. And he's into the drink.
Raptor was booped off the map in this first fight, so without a tank, that's going to be a hard time to get any space for the side of the Chaps. Novi's going to take down Dorcas as well. Mint throwing the grenades, trying their best to get some early damage, maybe find an opening pick. But Raptor now back alive without the on-run that they previously had from Solar. Solar now on the Reaper. Raptor's gonna have a little bit of a tough time. They have to try and make some space, but they also have to, be aware that Zarya is a dangerous thing, as Solar barely is going to get taken down by Arlington, was very low after trying to aggress. Raptor is going to be forced to go back to the spawn and looking to probably make a switch here, going to switch over to the Ramatra to see if maybe the Ramatra can work a little bit better into this Zarya composition that they're currently dealing with.
I think it will provide a little more safety for the rest of Raptor's team and being able to push up with the help of Shield and Ramform being able to absorb much more damage than Maga is. But one of the biggest problems right now is just they're not able to clear this Reaper and this Emre off the angles when they need them to. You can only get one off at a time without having to expend resources and send people off on a flight to deal with it. But Solar is going to find Mowgli here, so yeah, this will be a lot harder for a disengage on the side of Novi now. And here comes the Emre ult in response as well, just to clean up any sort of remaining
looking to take down the Zarya. The Zarya will be able to stay alive, however. Now falling down, has to keep an eye out on Arlington, who did have the angle to try and shoot at Mint as they're falling back out. Arlington is going to get punched out by Raptor, however. And now the Aubrey Chaps have a bit of point control and some space that they can work with Novi down their main hit scan DPS for the time being.
Yeah, I feel like with this Ram pick, as I said, it's a lot easier to hold the space and deny pressure from the Emre and the Reaper just because of Shield and being able to exist in Ram form. But, I was actually just going to get to it. It's a lot harder to kite this Emre ult now, as Raptor is sent off the map into the drink and they beat his pot on the side of Novi to secure the fight. I feel like maybe it's a little overzealous here, but, do what you gotta do, I guess.
Yeah, 2 ults used for Novi, but they do have a very deadly combo coming up with that Death Blossom Grab combo, along with the Kitsune Rush if they need to use it at any point. Solar here looking to try and maybe force out the angle of where the Emre is. Looking to TP back into the back line. They'll be able to do so. You're going to see the Kitsune Rush get popped early on. You'll be able to take down the Lucio. You saw the Kiriko TP as well. Won't be able to take down the Kiriko, however. Raptor was in their ult. They'll be able to take down Lumi during the grab. You're going to see the Death Blossom get popped. Raptor forced to just block for the entirety of it. Now fight on the point. Mint is very low, trying their best to cut back and grab a mini health pack. They will be able to in the midst of that. Raptor here trying their best to stay alive. Now there's a Doomfist on the field for Novi, and the point is still ticking for the side of the Chaps. Solar will pop their Death Blossom. It won't find a pick, but it'll allow Raptor and Mint to find some out of it, or from it. And now 70% and counting, Raptor's going to be holding this aggressive spawn angle.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully in this fight, we see them pop this Emre ult early to catch them on the rotate, and comes a little late. Solar gets found out, but Mowgli does get picked up, so there's no speed now for the side of Novi, and it's going to be a lot harder to push in and try successfully the speed boost for this fight. Point does flip over for Novi now, so catch progress will halt for the side of the Chaps. We are now in the overtime scenario. I think this is where the pressure really starts to build up. As that's a little too much for the Kiri.
Kiriko did have the Kitsune Rush in hand. Dorcas will find a pick onto the opposing Kiri, however. Raptor now in the punches for him, forced to block. It does not have a lot of health. Just them and Dorcas and Mint alive. Mint will find a pick onto the tank of the Hazard of Lulu. Arlington in a bit of a tough situation, will be taken out. Mowgli is going to be able to force a final a little overtime touch to at least stall the overtime a little bit longer. Lumi for the side of Novi now going back over to the Doomfist, but they won't be able to get a touch, so the Chaps will be able to take the second point.
I don't know if the stream caught that, but we saw the great mid-off between Arlington and Mint outside of Dojo for a second there, just hard whiffing shots from both sides. But a good round win there for Chaps as we are now sent into the final sub point of Lijiang. Winner takes it all here and will secure a 1-0 lead for this quarterfinals match. And it's looking like Novi are going to end up aiming into this Hazard more now, as Azaria is much harder to play into Ramatra. You get punched in your bubbles, hard punished by Field. And now that Solar is on this Reaper as well, there's a check to the Reaper of Blank, so it is much harder for them to play on this very aggressive angle, pushing into Raptor without taking severe damage.
To the Venture, however.
Alright, so fuck everything I just said.
Hey, Witherig, swearing.
Yeah.
This is a high school. Oh, Lumi's gonna take down Dorcas. That's an early pick. Akira finds Solar as well. Raptor very low, trying their best to stay alive, but they won't be able to live through that. Mint will be able to find the Kiriko, however, now has to deal with the Hazard forcing out their Kiriko instead. And Mint trying their best to kite back and stay with their life. So far able to, has to worry about the Reaper and the Hazard and the Lucio that are all able to contest them at any second. But Mint's going to find a nice little off angle for the time being, as they're a little bit uncontested so far.
Not really sure how I feel about this Venture pick. I think this is a little bit of a... possibly a troll, in my opinion. I think Reaper is just significantly better here, and it allows Raptor to play much more aggressive, as we have seen him feel more comfortable in that position, where he's in the front seat, putting his foot entirely on the gas pedal and just ramming it down mid. But fight will flip over for the side of the Chaps as they will begin getting their capture progress on our Lijiang Night Market sub point. I also think it's harder because right now I think Novi are playing this much more like Death Ball style, where Mowgli, Blank, and Lumi are stacking on top of each other, and Proyos is playing in the back, and Arlington's playing on his little off angle. I think it's just much easier for Reaper to find value, especially with ult. But maybe it's a comfort thing. Maybe they have a lot more practice with this Venture. Venture practice, however, will not prevent your Kiri from dying to a random Emery nade. Can't confirm that much.
Lumi will take down Dorcas, so no supports in this fight for the side of the Chaps. Mint looking to try and take down the Kiriko. Will be able to before getting taken out by Blank.
Emery just ran down into the back line with pistol and killed their Kiri. I've seen enough. Nerf Genji. Get him out. I've seen enough.
I know. Nerf Genji, of course.
I mean, that character is just so unbelievable.
Yeah, no, they're just too good. Mint is going to find a grenade pick onto Mowgli. That's going to give the Chaps a little bit of an opportunity to walk here. They're going to be able to put some pressure onto Blank. You're going to see Raptor popping their ults now. Is going to walk back, is going to lose the ult just at the end of it, but they will be able to find an early pick onto the Kiriko. Raptor now in the punches form, trying to do their best to keep anyone from being able to touch or even contest this point so far. You're going to see the Hazard wall off the area.
I'm not going to lie, Dorcas is high-key getting mobbed right now by Mowgli in this ult charge battle, as they will have a beat online for the side of Novi first, which is going to be a hard problem for Solar's Tectonic Shock. And for
they
the
use
rush
both at the same time.
Something like that, yeah.
3 ults committed, and the beat
and Mint's off the
Dorcas
map.
will keep people alive. Mint's off the map. Solar will find a pick. Dorcas will find a pick. I don't know why my voice went into a goofy voice for a couple seconds. Raptor now in the punches form is going to drop down the shield, but not going to be able to shield in time to keep Solar alive. Lumi will get taken out as well, but Mint is coming back from spawn doors, not going to be able to stall a little bit longer for their team. They're going to have to walk back, and they have to be a little bit careful, because the rest of the team is probably looking to try and take them out at any given opportunity.
So anyways, something Emerald online for final fight. And there's no beat in sight for Mowgli. 40%, 60% away from getting the beat that would save this, unless Blake manages to uptick here with the Blossom. Lumi is very far out, and Solar gets picked off with the Blossom as well. Now we are in officially Final Fight territory.
Yeah, we are in Final Fight territory, but Mint is still alive, still very close to that Emery ult, so that could be the switch, that could be the win con for this team, but Dorcas getting taken down early is not going to be a good thing to deal with. Mint is going to pop their ult, but it's going to get taken out by Lumi, and there's not going to be a touch. So first map is going to go over to Novi.
I mean, I think part of the reason why Garden or Night Market was much harder than like Gardens was, and even Control Center, I think the Venture pick was kind of I don't know, a little bit of a new pick in my opinion. I fear Venture hasn't really been in the ideal state, and I think more recently has been kind of seen as a just kind of. control early for first point, but it's mainly this Juno and Mizuki I'm looking at here that I feel is a little concerning. Very minimal healing.
Yeah.
Mobility is very good, able to space themselves out and get away from any immediate danger. But again, there's not too much healing, and it does take quite a little bit to build Ray and Sanctuary. So waiting for your support to come online will be quite a while, but. As we do get the first contact here, it seems that Blake is actually going to fall because of the explosion damage from Raptor's Hyperspheres. So first pick will go to the side of the Chaps.
Now I do... Ooh, those are 2 early picks. That's kind of tough. Lumi here in the midst of this fight is going to get a Suzu to keep them alive. They'll be able to take down Mint as well. Solar is going to put up the wall and just walk back. Blank now switching over to the Pharah, so we are going to see a Pharah in the midst of this team composition as well, switching off of the Genji, which got punished in the last fight. I could see Raptor finding some opportunities with the Each to maybe punish the Maga a little bit, but I can also see them potentially not finding those situations, as we're going to have an anti going over to Solar. Mint is going to get taken down by the Maga early on. And this Maga is kind of just running rampant currently. Not getting punished too much, or when they are getting punished, they're at least able to live off of the mistake. The Mizuki here, very low. Dorcas does get taken down. Dreamton takes down the Pharah, however. And it looks like with 2 minutes left, there's a little bit of a mental battle going on in do they switch, do they not, what do they do in this situation?
I will say, I definitely do think they have made the correct swap now, going over to this Kiri. Without the Kiri, the effect on a nade lasts their full duration, and that just gives Lumi much more time to stay in the fight and be aggressive and find value with Slam. As Lumi does get found out, though, very awkward encounter there at the wall going up and redirecting them back into the hands of the Chaps. But the Nano Emerald will come out, and, you know, yes, that does do a lot of damage, as Mint just got nuked in the corner.
Mint does get taken down. Raptor did throw out their shield to hopefully try and keep their team alive, but not going to be enough. Does find a nice rock onto the Pharah, however. Is going to use their Gravitic Flux. Will pick up the Maga, but gets slept in the air, and that's going to be a very difficult thing to deal with now. Solar's Freeze is going to help, however, taking down the Kiriko. Mowgli, the last person left on the point, they will get taken down, so the Aubrey Chaps will at least get the first point and start the payload progress. But a lot of ults committed from both sides, so not the worst fight you
I will say, I think in terms of winning out in the great ult economy crash of 26, the Chaps are looking a little better in terms of, you know, being able to be ready for the next fight. Even though Barrage is available for Blank right now on the side of Novi, there will be double support ults coming up here for the Chaps. Presumably after this fight, as a big wall comes down and finds Lumi early on. I mean, just one wonderful wall there from Solar. And nade forced out as well on top of Suzu, so now we just get to see the Chaps take as much space as they want and, you know, claim the streets phase. Hardest part, I would say, which is getting past pub and bookstore corner. But now they will be approaching Catwalk, which is a very oppressive position for Emre, for Pharah to play off of. The corner is very easy for Maga to play, and Blank just sends the Barrage into the void. Turns out with Raptor, though, so Novi will be winning this fight out for that.
Yeah, Arlington's going to take down Mint, the wall from Solar, kind of just to try and keep a bit of the damage away. Dorcas is going to be able to live off of this. Lumi's going to take down Aldrinton. Solar is going to be able to use the wall just to keep themselves alive. And now they have that difficult part of the map, as you're just saying, that they have to try and gain back. And really the fight switched all from that far ult. But they do have a good amount of ults from the side of the Chaps available. You're going to have the Orbit coming out first. Mint on the Bastion form in the turret formation, but Aldreamton is going to be the one that takes down the Kiriko instead. might give Mint the opportunity to maybe try and focus a little bit more on this aerial Pharah if they feel that that's what they need to focus on the most. You're going to see the Nano go onto the Maga from the side of Novi. Blank is going to be able to take down Mint. Raptor will take down Arlington, however. Raptor trying to focus on both Lumi and the Pharah, trying to block some of the Pharah's damage and also deal with the Maga that's present. A little bit of a difficult situation to be in, having to deal with both of them at the same time. And this is the hard part of the map to focus on. But Mowgli here is in a difficult spot, trying their best to stay alive. They're gonna get the Kiri help. They're gonna get the Kiri to help them out here. You're gonna see the cage get popped from Lumi. Solar is gonna be able to put up a wall. Raptor will be able to use the Graphitic Flux and take down Mowgli. Blank is gonna find Mint and Raptor, however. Arlington takes down Dorcas, and the fight is going to go overweight for, it's going to go well for Novi.
And yeah, I guess, like, you know, street phase for King's Row is very hard to get past, especially if you get stonewalled in a position where they're able to allow their Pharah to play off the high ground of Pub and use roof as cover, or even, like, the factory side as well. Their Emery has, like, infinite angle theory to work with, and they're pushing into a Maga Ana who has a perfect choke to just get free slams off in. The wall and the, oh wow, the double DPS ults are coming in for the chaps. Are they gonna find a pick? It does not seem so.
Doesn't seem like they will yet. Dorcas trying their best to take down Arlington, but they won't be able to find the pick. Arlington will grab the health pack as well, so Dorcas is not going to be able to find the pick. Will be taken down at the end, and that's going to be the side of offense for King's Row.
And I feel like part of the issue for trying to push past there is the SIG does work like really well if you're able to get past Streets phase pretty quickly and are able to hold like factory corner before your opponents can actually manage to get up there and work their way into the positions they want. But they weren't Chaps weren't able to do that, so Pharah was able to find angles through Pub and over factory side and the Emirates on the back, and then rotate around with the help of the Kiri to find off-angle picks pretty quickly. And like I said, you know, this Maga and Ana combo is just a little too lethal for Sig. If you get slammed and you don't have hands, or you get slammed in hands, you get naded immediately. They weren't playing Kiri originally, so there was no cleanse for the stun or for the nade, which just made life infinitely harder for the Chaps trying to push into these very oppressive choke points. I do think this Orisa pick will cause at least like early game I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to think of the word. Yes, alleviates early game pressure just because of how much space you're able to hold early on. The only struggle is no shield to start off with means that you are taking full damage. Will have to use spin and gold pretty frequently to keep yourself up. But as long as Raptor is able to place corners properly, and Solar on this hotel angle, there should be a strong defensive positioning here for the Chaps.
True enough. So early on, Raptor trying to focus out some angles. Mint on the Emery trying to lock down this kind of height angle as well. Lumi's going to jump in early onto Solar. Solar will burrow down. Will be able to get out. There is a Genji that has been spotted by Solar that's trying to get that height, but in the meantime, Solar is looking to try and aggress onto the supports in the backline if they're able to. Meanwhile, on the point, Raptor fighting Lumi and the rest of the side of Novi. Lumi is going to be forced to stomp back down to their backline to help out with Solar, who was being a little bit of a menace onto the Ana and the Kiri. Mint still playing this height angle, looking for the grenades and other useful sight shots, along with protecting the Kiriko on this height, who is going to be probably the primary source of healing for Raptor. Mint dangerously low, is going to get taken down by the Genji, however. Raptor finds a pick, Solar finds a pick. Kiriko is forced to teleport over to Raptor and will be taken down as well, so Solar and Raptor the only ones left alive in this fight. Solar, fairly low, is going to be burrowed in. Now trying their best to just stall as long as they can to get onto a health pack or something to keep them alive. They'll not be able to, they're going to be forced to jump out. Lumi trying to chase them for the kill, they're not going to be able to. Solar will be able to use their ability to get over to the side here. I forget what the ability is called. And will be able to force an overtime touch just for a little bit of time. Raptor is going to have the Yu Yang ult put on them. They're going to get slept, but they will be able to use it. Will be able to use the Orisa ult as well. Will take down one, getting the Genji. And a late overtime touch or a late touch, almost forcing it into the overtime aspect of stalling the point, is going to work out well in the side of the Chaps.
Right now, it's like just they're in this law of unfortunately just having to deal with hard ult dump fights, and Lumi's cage is just always going to be a problem because there's a lot of DPS for the side of the Chaps, but not enough to break cage in time usually to save people. However, lucky for them, Lumi overextended and dropped cage just to try and save base, and it wasn't enough to find picks. Rush comes out early, meeting the matching with the Emery ult. Oh my god, I just witnessed a murder.
Mint takes down Froyo. Solar is going to be able to take down Mowgli, and Raptor will be able to take down Lumi. Arlington now has the nano, but was not able to pop the Emery ult. And the only person left alive from the side of Novi is Blank, who's currently fighting Mint and Arlington, and all Dreamton, sorry, not Arlington, and will get taken out at the end of that fight as well.
Yeah, Blank got a little too jumpy there, as Mint was just kind of blindly walking backwards into them and just pop deflect for seemingly no reason, and then got found out. Oh.
Arlington is going to use the grenade ability to get themselves up in the air, but not able to spot anyone just yet. Will be able to spot Mint for a little bit. Not going to be able to take Mint down, however. Now you have the Genji Blade coming into play. Solar takes down the Kiriko, however, and you're going to have a Kitsune Rush get popped into this fight as well. Mint is going to be able to find two. Raptor is going to be able to aggress into the Ana, and they will be able to take them down. Lumi now on the Hazard, looking to just at least be able to force a touch to keep OT potentially alive, but they're going to have to deal with the Javelin and the Spear of Raptor early on, and they're not going to be able to force a touch. So the Aubrey Chaps will take King's Row.
This is shades of the Chaps that I remember watching. This is more accurate for me.
This is the Chaps that we know and love.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
Sure, let's go with that one.
We'll say that one.
So, King's Row, and I think that Reaper band definitely was the choice for them, the correct.
where the chaps have a specific composition that they want to run that's going to probably get punished a little bit more by a diva than any other hero, even the hazard in that potential composition that we might see. So we will see, just as we wait for the heroes to be assembled. Curious to see what we'll see first here, as we're gonna have Winston duels, so that will be interesting. You have the side of Solar going to the Onron, which I can see working a little bit similarly to the Venture in concept. I'm curious to see how in execution it will go. Mint onto the Tracer as well, with Aldrington and Dorcas on the Kiriko Wu Yang respectively.
Perfect. Seems like I came back at a great time.
Yes, you came back at a great time. I was saying the Venture was probably because Solar was able to focus on the back line of Novi, and it would force Lumi to jump back and kind of kite back and help with their back line. So getting rid of the Venture just so that they don't have to worry about that as a potential threat in the future. But Solar now on the Onron, jumping in very early and gets taken down by Arlington with the beam right click. And now Mint forcing the payload. You're going to see the Genji of Blank drop down, but now Raptor on this Wu Yang, or not Wu Yang, this Hazard is going to be interesting to see into the Winston. Solar aggressing on this height once more, is going to be able to get back out with their life. Raptor trying their best to take down the hit scan, but not able to just yet. Solar aggressing farther in, focusing on the hit scan as well. Is going to get focused out by this Winston, but will be able to grab the mega health pack in time. Blank very low, is able to live. Solar able to get back with their team. And I feel like a lot of these fights are going to end up being Solar aggressing on early, with maybe the help of Raptor if needed in these fights. As Solar is just really, I think Solar's job is just to pester the backline and be an annoyance on them. Would you agree with it, right?
I would say that Onron definitely does have a strong liking to just kind of existing and being annoying behind enemy squishies, as Solar does finally find a strong pick in the Curie. However, I will say I definitely think Solar needs to maybe, you know, take the foot off the gas a little bit. One of the great things about Hazard is he's able to absorb a lot of damage early on because of block and armor. So as long as there's a distraction on top, like being your Hazard, you're allowed to be a lot more aggressive and annoying in the backline. And one very important part about Gib, I feel, need to point out, and maybe something people forget a lot about this game, is that it is objective-based. And so long as the cart is being moved, chaps are winning this game, as they have gone past this very hard to push with bridge, with boxes. So, you know, remember that for your ranked games, ladies and gentlemen. Objective-based game. That is what Overwatch is. One of the best examples that I like to use, that my friend uses as well, because he was the primary example piece, is in his Face-It game. They played Gibraltar and he played Tracer. Guess how much damage he had in their offense?
I don't know, probably 2,000?
800. But guess how much time they had after capping fully.
The Tidal Blast gets thrown out along with the Pulse. I'm gonna take a guess. I'm gonna say they had like 5 minutes or something crazy.
5.5 minutes on Gibraltar attack.
Well, yeah, that's fair enough. And I mean, the Tracer, kind of similar to what Mint will be doing, is just going to be on the payload.
Just the important part to understand about how we want to see the chaps attack here is they want to be as aggressive as they can early on and hold the space so Mint is able to push point as fast and as far as possible before having to back off and get set up for the incoming fight. And that's kind of what they're doing right now. They're very hard, pushed up in the spawn, letting their backline and Tracer push point, while Raptor and Solar, well, Solar not being dead, and now we see Aldrington over there with helping Raptor, just, you know, be aggressive and make them uncomfortable and force a lot of misplays just trying to get out of the spawn. You see your Mint picking up the final pick onto the backline in Mowgli, as Cart is still just inching forward, and we're at the end of second point already. Which is
I guess
the most one of the more impressive parts about Watchpoint Gibraltar is getting past the second point defensive hold. But You know, the chaps are making do with what they have. Oh my god, what a big hazard ult.
I'm not sure if the hazard ult got anyone, but you're going to see the nano.
It did. It caught the Genji in play at the very end.
Wow. I thought it just missed. I thought the Genji just got
you know, it almost did. You know, it almost did. Well, fun fact, actually, it does not give it a single care about a wall. Wow.
I guess I learned something today.
It does not care about walls. If you are in the large purple box, and so long as there's no barrier blocking you, you will get hazard ulted. So keep that in mind.
Blank the Genji now over to the Reaper, and Mint is in this backline with a pulse. Trying to find an opportunity to use it, but they're going to be forced just to kite back. Solar, however, is in basically the exact same angle that Mint was in, finding an opportunity just to walk in currently with the Kitsune Rush from Aubrey getting popped as well. And now Blank's job is going to probably be to care for the supports that Solar was aggressing in the past. Mint is going to get taken down by Arlington's right click. Aldrington trying their best to keep Raptor alive as Looney's Primal will take down Dorcas. And now the Winston aggressing onto the Kiriko, forcing the Kiri TP out. Solar aggressing onto the Kiri of Novi, and we'll be able to take them down before they get taken out with the grenade.
You know, it's like, look how much car progress they made off that fight. They're past the main corner.
Yeah, they're past the main corner, so that's decent progress.
It's just
coming up some good ults as well.
Yeah, I think part of that was because Lumi just hard entered into the backline trying to find Dorcas with Primal, so there was no point contest, as the rest of Novi was all pushed back into their spawn because of Raptor and Solar just being so aggressive. Good sleep there to stop the
good sleep. Very good sleep.
I think Mowgli is a little worse for wear.
But Lumi finds Dorcas, so it's a valid trade. Raptor's just gonna solo ult Arlington, which valid point. You hear an OC get popped, you're in front of them. I can understand why you would just solo ult them there.
Ooh, hold that. Nice flip one from mid, and Nana comes out onto Lumi now. And you know that whole time, actually, the cart was moving backwards, so what was the point of the fight?
Well, I think they were thinking that someone had the cart, and no one did. Everyone thought somebody else had the cart.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, talk to your teammates.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we've been fighting pretty hard, and I don't see cart near the end of the map. Is someone pushing?
Yeah.
You look up.
Pushing.
Oh, the cart's moving backwards. Ah, that's not good.
Yikes. Primal is going to be in hand for Lumi. Raptor once again going on to Mowgli and taking them out at the end there.
What a great character design.
Yeah, perfect character design. Lumi with the Primal, Blank with that, had the Death Blossom in hand, is taken down before they can use it. Arlington is going to be able to get back to spawn with Mint still being in this front angle. Lumi is going to take down Dorcas, however. Coming back, Mint's going to be forced to recall to keep themselves alive. The point is, payload is going to move a little bit now. Kitsune Rush from the side of Novi. Mint able to grab the health pack. Raptor, in the meantime, stuck in this small room with both the Reaper and the Winston. The Winston falls low and is taken down, however. Mint now has the pulse in hand. Dorcas finds two. And now Raptor's going to find an opportunity to maybe jump onto this Ana and this... but they're going to get slept instead. Sojourn will be able to make it back to spawn. The point continues. The Winston's able to touch. Tidal Blast is going to get popped. It's going to hit the Winston. The Winston will get taken down. The Hazard ult's going to get popped as well. It's going to take down Froyo. 2 meters and counting. And the Chaps will be able to full cap it. If I'm not mistaken, Raptor at the end there with a 25 bomb. And
while they were able to get, pretty good attack, I would say, I definitely think it could have been a little cleaner with having cart pressure being always active during their fight. It is okay to send someone back for point in the middle of the fight. It's okay. Let that be known for everybody. Especially with like how easy it is to get cart meterage on escort, mainly, just because you immediately start off with pushing the point. You should always actively be trying your absolute hardest to get point distance in any way that you can. Of course, without completely throwing the fight by not being present with your team. There's gaps. There's gaps for it, you know? You just have to find the gap.
So now we see. Sorry, I can hear them talking a little bit in the background.
This was just a tiny bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I don't know if it's audible on stream or not, but it's funny for us because we'll hear just the occasional like hype moment or thing like that happen, or the occasional calm from them. The on-run will be interesting, along with the Freya. I do kind of like the Freya. It's pretty similar to what we had just seen in the past, past 30 seconds. Only difference being the Freya instead of the Tracer.
And I don't know how I feel about this Freya pick just because of how strong Tracer is on Gibraltar and being able to hold cart on both offense and defense for a pretty long time and provide a lot of stall for your team to just either find picks in the mid-fight or reposition themselves and buy time to then take a cleaner fight. Solar will find Novi very early on though. And I think that is the benefit of this having this on-run in this comp is that it's a very, very heavy backstab character where if you're like you said, if your back is turned for too long, then on-run's just gonna come up behind you and hit you with combo and blow you up. So
yeah, so that's probably working out very well. Solar is so close to death, but will live. Somehow getting body blocked by Lumi and everything is not going to be enough to take down Solar. And maybe Mint is on this just to try and get some early damage onto the Winston, or maybe to try and find picks on squishies who are trying to hide in corners when they know that they're there, or just can't get an angle onto them to actually do the damage that they want to. I could probably see it as something to force out Lumi a little bit more, as Raptor is slapped and antied and will be taken out at the end. Solar now at this cart area. Lumi takes down Dorcas, however, so now focused onto the Winston. The Winston will be able to live and get healed up very fast. Solar looking for the back of the opponents. Will be able to go back and grab a health pack. Mint has the bola shot in hand. Is going to use it, is going to hit the Winston. Winston's going to jump up to try and take down Mint. They will be able to as well. Aldrington's going to take down the Kiri, however. Lumi takes down Solar. Solar was very close to their ult, now has the ult in hand but can't use it. You're going to see Dorcas popping the ult onto Aldrington, but they're not going to be able to touch for long enough. So the first point of Watch Point Gibraltar is going to go over to the side of Novi.
I mean, I think part of this is during the first fight, Blank was just pushing point the whole time, and they were able to get point all the way underneath Bridge in their first little mini fight. And the big key difference was when Traps were on their offense, Novi was hard committing to just jumping on the point to stop any sort of push at all. And so this has allowed them to cap first point with significantly more time, and now they're applying the same kind of pressure that the Chaps are putting on their offense once they got the second point. And if you look already, the point is basically near the end as we're approaching the last 80%. I do just think that the Tracer switch is needed to contest point more consistently. But a big downpour will come through as Solar's on-run ult will be slept and canceled. Very unfortunate circumstance for them, but fight is now even out, and now is in the favor of the Chaps as a nano boost is used as well. I mean, honestly, the Chaps, even though they've managed to get a lot of point progress, this is a very good fight for them as they have committed both support, they've committed Primal and Rush in the previous fight, and now they've used Nano. However, unfortunately, their ult economy is looking a little worse for Wear as they now have to deal with the overclock and Death Blossom now from Novi, which might be a little bit of a problem. It might be a little shiesty even, if you will, for this back line of the Chaps.
Yeah, and you can see Blank here trying to set themselves up for this Death Blossom if they can find the opportunity to use it. But they did notice where Solar was hiding at the time. The Death Blossom is going to get popped. It's not going to be able to find a pick. Aldrington will be able to take down the Reaper as well, but Arlington going to take down the Kiri. Mint is going to use the bola shot to take them down. Will get taken out in the process, but a little bit of a stall now from the side of the Chaps. Able to stall Novi a little bit on their point progress. As Solar is going to continue aggressing into this backline as best as they can. You see the Kitsune Rush get popped. There is no pick that follows from it, but Mint will be able to take one down along with Solar as well. And despite the meterage that was left, they are able to win the fight with Dorcas's ult used at the end there. I feel like that's a little bit of an overcommit myself. But they win the fight. Coming up on Raptor's ult and Solar's ult.
Yeah, if you look over for the side of Novi, they will have both support ults and they have a primal in line for Lumi, so they're able to just push deep in for this fight without really having to worry about much. Lumi already lost all of their armor and is just stuck in shuttle now, healing up with the help of the bubble and the nade from Mowgli. Blank has just been kind of diving deep in and using Wraith early, which is definitely not the ideal way to play Reaper, but I guess it's forcing a lot of cooldowns out from the side of the Chaps and is allowing Novi to take sort of winnable fights. Primal does come out inside of Shuttle and we'll find one, but I'll find two actually.
We'll find two. Lumi's gonna keep aggressing. The Kitsune Rush is gonna get popped as well. Raptor find a pick onto Lumi.
Almost finding Dorcas.
Yeah, Dorcas is dangerously low, trying their best to live, but Blank is gonna take them out before they can. Blank, now very low, is going to get chased out by Mint. And will get punished for finding that pick. It's now 30 seconds left for the side of Novi on their offense. Mint does have the bola shot in hand if needed.
Now, if you're the Chaps here, what you want to do is immediately look for Mowgli and blow him up before any value can be found with this Ana. Playing very far behind. Honestly, just because of how spread out Novi are playing, Chaps are able to be a lot more aggressive and try to look for Mowgli in the back line. Unfortunately, won't be able to find them in time as the Nano will come out onto Lumi and Blank might pick on the Mint as Aldrinton falls shortly after. And this is more than likely going to be point cap for the side of Novi.
Yeah, this will be point cap. As much as I would love to have a lot of faith in Solar, I don't see that 1v5 going out well for them. So, the fun part is that the Chaps did full cap, so they are able to at least force OT if a full cap does happen from the side of Novi. The question is, however, for the Chaps, can they prevent that from happening?
I think the only way that they're going to be able to is they need to deny Mowgli and Froyo's ability to build their ult. So they need to be taking these fights pretty quickly. And onto the backline of Solar is already in there waiting on a Raptor to come and help out. But Raptor's going to get blown up on top of point trying to stop it. And Solar's going to probably fall shortly afterwards too.
Solar does get taken down along with Lumi finding a pick onto Mint. So those are early picks and difficult picks. Dorcas.
Yeah, the good thing is that they do pack out 5 ults.
Get stalled out and taken out. They will have 5 ults, that is true, but you need someone to touch. Raptor will be able to. But then the question is, whose ult happens first? You have the bola shot coming in. You have the Death Blossom getting popped from Blank. Solar will pop their ult. Looking for their target. They're going to go in. They're not going to be able to find the pick with it, however. All ults were committed. Mint going over to the Tracer now. Solar the last person on the point. Mint now the last person on the point with Aldrington. They will be able to continue the OT stall, but they're not going to be able to shut them down. So a minute of OT for both teams.
I think the shortcoming for the Chaps there was a big lack of point pressure towards at the very beginning and towards this end bit now. They also had an unfortunate bit of late fight staggers that caused them to come out very delayed and force a very scrappy touch because Raptor would have to go deep in and get the touch and force the Reaper off the point. Unfortunately as well, Solar just kind of sent the on-run ult down main when there was just nobody there, and there was a lovely group of 3 stacked right behind the Chaps backline that he could have easily hit and maybe found a pick through. However, in that midst as well, there was in fact a primal for Lumi, so they would have had to deal with the 1000 HP Winston rapidly flailing around on point, which, you know, even if they were able to get the numbers advantage, is a little annoying to deal with.
You know what they say?
So now
I
Solar's
will
gonna
think on this
stick on the
offense here.
Honoron.
I think this Honoron pick is a very, like, boom or bust right now for them, as they either find absolutely zero value with it or are winning fights because Solar is able to force cooldowns in the back line as Raptor's engaging, so there's less pressure on the tank. Coming into the fight is able to find picks much easier. But I think there's a easier way to handle these fights, and it's just by letting Raptor take the damage early on and letting Solar come in later and helping Raptor secure picks in the mid fight rather than trying to go early fight and force stuff out. Because Raptor's job is to absorb this damage and to force out these cooldowns, so his squishies are able to find an easier time in the fight and get their footing much quicker.
Mint here is going to be having to deal with Lumi a little bit, is going to be forced to grab a mini health pack and kite back onto the payload. So now Mint able to contest the payload as Lumi's now going to jump back to aggress onto the Kiriko of Aldrington. As Solar and Raptor are both antied. Solar with 3 health, able to get some healing, trying their best to stay alive. They'll be able to stay alive for a bit longer. Raptor dangerously low. The health pack that they were going after was taken by Lumi. Now Solar here trying to stay alive, will escape with their life for now, but Lumi is going to jump onto them and take them down, along with taking down Dorcas. Raptor is antied, trying their best, asleep on the point. They're the last one to touch. They will be taken down. So 69.99 meters left for the Chaps on their offense. Have to prevent them from capping 70 meters on the dot.
And you know, if you're Novi right now, you're feeling pretty good because alone on their offense, Blank was able to push well over 70 meters because of 0 cart contests from the Chaps side early on in their first point. So Chaps need to look forward to playing much more aggressive and holding closer up with the space they're allowed to have now, and deny as much point pressure as possible early on. So, you know, I'm thinking probably seeing, the Tracer on defense now instead, just because they need to have somebody ready to contest cart at any moment and deny immediate cart pressure for the side of Novi. But again, I think this on-run pick might have, you know, worn itself out. The flame has simmered down now. It's no longer burning as bright as it used to. I think they need to maybe find another solution in this position rather than keep forcing it. Because they've kind of, Novi has already seen through the trick, and they're just like, okay, well, if the on-run's in, the Raptor's going to follow in soon after, so as long as we just play that back up early enough, and then we could recontest as Raptor's going in, we should be able to win the fight off of, you know, getting our cooldowns back by the time Raptor's in. It's just, uncoordinated hits are becoming the unraveling for the Chaps right now.
Now I'm curious to see Lumi on the Maga.
This is a little interesting. I think they're just playing the full bunker on point here and just, you know, deny any sort of point touch, because if you drop into the Maga Reaper Bastion, you're going to take a lot of damage really early on. But they're going for an immediate backline hit, and they're going to find Froyo and a forced lamp out too from Mowgli. As long as somebody can contest the point here and make sure Blank doesn't push it all the way, this is a very clean first fight win here for the Chaps.
Looks like Dorcas will be the one to aggress first, forcing Blank back, but 52 meters is not anything to scoff at right off the bat. Now Dorcas is on this low ground, has to be a little bit careful. They're gonna have to kite back for the time being, but 10 seconds left. Dorcas is gonna be the primary person to stall this payload, but they have to be careful with Blank being the primary person to aggress. The meterage is ticking down. Overtime is ticking down as well. Raptor on this point, trying their best to force out the Bastion, not able to just yet. Mint has the pulse in hand, they whiff the pulse onto someone, but they are going to be able to take down the Bastion. Now trying their best to focus out the Kiriko that's keeping this Maga alive. They are able to force out the Kiriko. Now it's a battle between the Mint between Mint and the Reaper and the Onron. Lucio in play is able to help out. Lumi is going to take down Dorcas. Solar's still in this fight. Looking to burn the Maga. Trying their best to burn the Maga. They will have the revive available if they need to use it. They will use it in this fight. Raptor very low, will fall. Solar is not able to touch. And
And you know,
and map will go to Novi.
I think the moment that the chaps were letting Blank push right underneath them is where the unraveling truly showed itself as, you know. Once you get underneath height, it's so much easier to aggress through the under and get that push going, because you don't have to worry about, you know, having to clear off height. You can just run under and take the point as far as you want and then force a fight on point. So I am excited to see the comps that they go for. I believe we'll, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking Mint's probably not going to be on this Tracer here. I think we're going to be seeing a head scan, probably Sojourn, maybe Cass, and Solar probably back on this on-run, maybe possibly on Venture, just because of how much potential value that Venture can get with ults on these long sight, like on these sight lines, because of how comfortable Novi seems to be on these more brawly comps, which Venture can thrive into. We might also see Reaper here. I'm kind of hoping to see more Reaper here. I can't lie. Yay, Reaper! Yay! I love Reaper. I love the Reaper guy. But, you know, kind of as I said, Venture from Solar, Mint on the Sojourn, Raptor opting to play this Ramatra here, so very kind of textbook brawl, I'd say, maybe with the exception of the Venture here. And Lumi back on this Hazard with a Reaper Soj DPS line, and both sides, of course, playing Lukiri, a staple of Overwatch at this point.
Yeah, Lukiri is as
the golden standard.
It's as much of a it's Lukiri, always has been, basically. It's like,
yep.
It is the identity of Overwatch. As speaking of the Lukiri, the Kiri from Froyo will be taken down first from a right click from Mint. And that'll open up this fight here as the Chaps take this right side kind of coastline.
Let's move.
Bot progress will start for the Chaps. And at this point, Solar's just kind of able to sit and wait. They are found out by the Hazard, but they are able to live at the end of it as well. Raptor looking at the Reaper and the Lucio, not able to take them down, now forced into the block formation as the Hazard wall was in their way. Now looking to try and get some punches into the Hazard. The Hazard is full HP, so not able to really pressure them out too much just yet. And now the Hazard falls low. You'll see the Suzu get popped. And it does take a right click into the side of the Hazard, but they're not able to take them down. So Solar is trying to stay with the tank, now focusing onto maybe this back line, focusing on the Kiri for a second. He'll be able to burrow to keep themselves alive. Will emerge up from the top, focusing on Lumi. Lumi will take down Raptor, however. And now Solar is just forced to try and do their best to kite out of this fight while staying alive. Dorcas trying to help out with the speed, but is in a difficult situation. Lumi takes down both of the supports.
Their barricade shouldn't be moving.
And now the Chaps are forced to kite back and regroup with the rest of their team.
You know, it feels like the biggest struggle we're gonna see here for the side of the Chaps is just understanding when and where to be in terms of this Hazard engage. I think the standard should be your Lucio and your Sode should be a coordinated two-party, just being able to rotate around the map quickly and find picks on off angles. But it seems that Aubrey are more inclined to play a slower style of the Sojourn, sitting in the back and applying pressure from a distance, which I think is much better in terms of playing into this Hazard and this Reaper Sojourn. But I think with how wide these sidelines are for Runasapi and the amount of like how much pressure you can provide on just simply flanking around them, because of how much open space there is on both the main flank angles from main, it's much easier to play that style of play rather than, you know, play slow and absorbing the hit from the Hazard. Because if you let the Hazard just sit in your team and get value off block, he builds ult really fast, and then you have to deal with a downpour in a fight, which no one wants to deal with, as we will see ults get popped now for this fight. Mint using their OC, but gets found out on the cart. And, I mean, a blossom, I guess, as Lumi picks up 3.
Yeah, the Death Blossom, I think, had the right intent for Blank, but they just kind of used it a little too late. So for the Chaps, that's a bonus. You got rid of Death Blossom, technically. And now Mint used their ult and Raptor used their ult fight prior. So Solar, you have the Kitsune Rush and the Beat for the Chaps. But the Chaps will lose the lead in terms of the robot progress. As Solar looks to be trying to set themselves up to dive onto some of these opponents. Forces out Suzu relatively early. You're going to see the Kitsune Rush get popped as well, but Solar's taken down by Lumi at the end of that fight. The Kitsune Rush from Aldreamton is popped as well, trying to keep Dorcas alive currently. Dorcas 60 HP. Will be able to live and finds a pick onto Arlington. Grabs the mini health pack while they had the chance. Focused out by Blank and will be taken down, but in the meantime, Kiriko will get taken down. Blank is going to be forced to Wraith form to keep themselves alive just temporarily and is taken down by Solar at the end.
This robot rules.
You know, pretty slow progress. One team will in fact have their checkpoint online, being Novi, but not far off to the side of Chaps from their checkpoint as well. So as they reach the halfway mark of this Runasapi, it starts to kind of show how much more pressure is applied now that one team does have checkpoint access and they no longer have to worry about the wait time for capturing checkpoint. Heavy ult dump fight though will be coming out here from both sides, and it seems that it will be favoring the side of the Chaps, so maybe we will see them taking their checkpoint here now upon killing Lumi and Froyos.
Well, that is the hope, that they'll take their own checkpoint, but we have to see, as it's going to depend on who is able to stall, or who is able to contest, and how fast they're able to do it. Because you are down your take and your Kiriko. Excuse me. You are down your take and your Kiriko, but the beat from Mowgli is going to help out. Raptor's going to kite it for a little bit here. Now going to try and aggress a little bit more. Lumi takes down Mint, however. So they are down a player. Still trying to make this fight work. Raptor's going to pop the ult. Will take down Blank first. Now focusing on the Lucia. Will take them down. Focusing now on Arlington. Will take down Arlington. And now Lumi, the last to fall. The checkpoint will unlock for the side of the Chaps.
You know, and that just goes to show how easy it is to convert in a fight after even being down one. You know, as long as you can sustain and hold on to like an ult or two after expending into a pretty big fight, that would guarantee you good progress if you want it. Raptor's ult was able to turn the fight even being down one, as we see OC get popped pretty early on here just to secure a pick onto Lumi probably and get some more card progress going. As the Chaps are trying their best to storm back into this game and tie up the series.
Yeah, they are. They forgot about the bot for a little bit, but they're back to
recurring problem.
Push it. Yeah.
That's okay. It happens to everybody at some point.
Yeah, that is.
Your day just got made.
That is very true. Mint is going to find themselves in a little bit of a tough situation, forced to use both of their slides to get away from Lumi. Solar tried to burrow before they were caught by the ult from Lumi, but were not able to, and they do get taken down. Mint, very low HP, is going to be able to use their slides to get themselves a health pack and to stay alive for a little bit, but they're in a very difficult situation, a very difficult position. 1 HP, and now they're taken down by both the Lucio and the Sojourn combo that were chasing them at that point. Mowgli takes down Dorcas, Raptor low, and is going to be taken down as well.
Now just a case of like very heavy staggers coming here, Caustic. Solar will be able to shoot out Mowgli, but won't really matter as checkpoint will go to the side of Novi here, and now they have to deal with the push here being down from their teammates as we are waiting for the respawns to come through. Mowgli will be back in time for this fight for the side of Novi. Now you have to wonder, like, what is the angle here for the Chaps as Blank just gets popped immediately in the front line as an ult from Solar comes out, finding one on the Froyos as they immediately respond back even after, you know, hitting a pretty heavy stagger and losing a little bit of, or shortening the gap unintentionally and providing checkpoint for the side of Novi. I believe Lumi will get it just in time and they will be able to take a 5-4 checkpoint theoretically for the side of Novi. So now we play the game of whose rush will get more value, Caustic. it's immediately already Novi's because they won't have to use it to win this fight. Dorcas gets immediately picked off.
And I feel Aldrington might not even be able to get it out, but no, Aldrington won't be able to get out the Kitsune Rush in time, but trades from both sides. Mint very low from the Reaper, 19 HP and a Dream. Will grab a health pack. Raptor takes down Novi. Novi takes down Solar. Mint takes down Blank. And it looks like at this point, they're not going to try and push the robot anymore. They're just going to, at least for now, stabilize and try and get your team back before you worry about pushing the bot forward more and more progress. Hazard ult will get popped, but I don't think it catches anyone. Raptor will pop their ult as well. Walking for the most part, now running, looking for a target. Not able to take anybody out with their ult, however, from both teams. OC popped from Arlington. It is looking to try and find one. Blank will take down Raptor. Arlington takes down Mint. And now it's the overtime stall scenario. Solar is in the back line, the only person left alive, and it's going to be a little bit behind in the next couple team fights.
Now, unfortunately for Aldrington, he will not be getting close spawn with the rest of the team, as Dorcas will go to pick them up. But now you have a, 31 meter lead. You can give a little leeway. You have Solar in the back line, ready to hit a flank for the engage. Here comes the rush from Aldrington. Mowgli will pop the B in response and mirror the rush. Both sides popping B. And now it's down to whose DPS will find more value. And Blank will come up big with one, get Raptor low. I mean, this is just kind of, it seems like it's going to be kind of lights out here. He immediately traded out, but now we're in a scenario, no tanks, and we're down your main heal factor for the side of the Chaps. But Solar does come up big, finds Civic on the Froyos, and Mowgli gets found out, and we will be going to map 5 in this quarterfinals.
Yeah, we're going to map 5, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Flashpoint.
Ooh!
One of the most...
it reminds me a lot of, it does remind me a lot of the Nebula season, where I won, classic. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
I remember for, second week.
think Ana is a common ban, but I'm thinking about it in the sense of what tank could you play that would be countered directly from Ana. That's not Roadhog, because I don't expect them to pull out Roadhog on map 5 quarterfinals. On Flashpoint at that as well. And something like a Maga comes to mind, which is what Novi is playing.
Maybe even in One Piece.
You know, they're playing a very slower style manga too. They now have Mowgli on the Wu Yang instead of the Lucio, so maybe they want to aim for a more poke, absorbing the rush steal from Aubrey, as they are going to be playing these pretty much the same comp they were playing on Runesapi, minus the Soj. We now have Mint back on Emre, which I think interchangeable here on this map. You know, personally, I think Soj might be a little bit better on this first point at least, but Emre, consistent DPS as usual, Soj always pretty good. So, at that point, user's choice. And now we have first contact, and I'm kind of looking to see if our Mint on Emre is going to be playing these off angles more, if he's going to be sitting down in main, looking for immediate poke. I do think, especially into this comp, you want to be angle maxing as much as possible.
Solar is taken down early. That's a bit of a tough pick to lose right away. Mint now fairly low, does not have the health pack to go to. Arlington will take them down. The only person left alive is the Kiriko, and they're going to be staggered out as well. So now, interesting to see how the chaps will adapt.
Hey there.
If any swaps are going to come in early, or if they're going to just let it ride for this first point. Looks like they're opting to let it run for the time being. Raptor puts up a shield early, looking to just shield off some of this early damage. Mint taking this off angle, trying to focus on Lumi a little bit, now trying to focus on the Reaper. Throws a grenade in just for good measure. Focusing on the Reaper for the time being. Solar jumps in. Mint takes out the Reaper. Solar on the point, able to contest, dealing with this Maga a little bit. Mint will be able to take down Mowgli. So now it's the Maga and the cast that are left alive. Solar will be able to take down the cast. All Dreamton takes down the Maga as well. But I think Solar's going to have a little bit of a harder time to aggress the way that they did before, since they have to deal with that Cass along with the Reaper in the back line.
You know, I feel like this is going to be a big problem for Solar to deal with, but like I said, like the main reason why Gib was so hard is because Solar was just aggressing too early and wasn't letting Raptor force out these cooldowns and allow for the aggro to be drawn onto him. But as I say that, Solar waited patiently and got to pick on the Mowgli. Still gets found out by Arlington, but it doesn't matter because this fight is already turned for the side of the Chaps.
That's two big ults that you use there. You use the Emery ult and you use Raptor's ult. So now the question becomes, how long can they hold this point? Do they have enough time to hold it so that the so that Novi doesn't have a chance to cap it, or is it going to potentially go over to the side of Novi early on? We're going to see the Kitsune Rush get popped early. You're going to see a counter Kitsune Rush get popped as well. Raptor looking to take down the Kiriko. Mint will be able to take them down first. Mint now going with their team. Raptor takes down the Reaper. Mobley takes down the Kiri. You're going to lose the Solar. The Wu Yang ult's going to go over to the side of Lumi. The only person left for a touch is Dorcas. Dorcas will get taken down as well, so the ults that Novi had in hand were able to force them to, would allow them to cap the first point. Now the next flashpoint is Gardens.
And, you know, I think you get, like, one of the harder points out of the way, too, but unfortunately, I covered this, like, on my own, talking to people about this because I was following someone on Maga. I think this is the second best point for Maga on Saravasa. A lot of good corners to play off of, slam angles, Cage covers the entirety of point, basically, so, you know, you don't have to worry about too much with that. And speaking of the Cage, Lumi does have that online, and that's probably looking to use it here on the stairs as the walk-up comes through. As I say, it comes out, Solar gets found out immediately with it, and I think this is just fight over.
Yep, this is fight over. Get them to use any ults that they can. Includes Blank's ult. But now the point starting to progress over for the side of Novi once more. but you do get 2 ults out early on. And it also gives you a little bit of a breathing opportunity. Next up, into this next fight, you have ults in hand. If you need to use any of them, you can look to use them. If you need to make a switch, now's kind of your best opportunity to, as Solar gets taken down early. Just a 1-2 punch from the Reaper and the Kiri that were nearby. Arlington takes down Aldreamton. Mint trying their best to help take down the, the Maga, but was taken down at the end.
You know, they should theoretically be able to get a touch here. Solar, hopefully getting dash in time, will find the touch, and this should be, hopefully, as long as the reinforcements arrive in time. Maybe not so much now. I say that, but they pop ults, so they are looking to try and fight and take this point and maybe begin regaining momentum in their favor as Mint does get the final shot on the Froyo. I mean, very aggressive beat and Emerald to come in there and just win the fight. And now they're on, you know, 1 fight and they lose this point and they go down 2-0 on the Flashpoint, but they don't want to give any more progress if they can't. They want to try to secure probably these next 2 points after this in a favorable manner for them. But now with the ult economy looking a little worse for wear, Logu's gonna have Tide on. They have a rush, and Dorcas gets found out in the early fight. Rush does get popped to make up for it, as Raptor will find 1 with the help of his ult, and 3 picks with the Raptor's ult being found there. I mean,
that's every ult committed.
Yes, that, you know, I was actually just gonna say they now have 0 ults to work with, and they technically still haven't won this point yet. There is still another fight to be had, and Lumi has Cage. There's a rush for the side of Novi as well, and a Noon, and a Blossom. So now you have to, you know, if you are Aubrey here, you need to stuff doors, and you need to prevent any sort of touch from happening if you can, but they're not going to, as Lumi will be able to find touch here. Lipton and Cage will come out right on top of it as well. Doesn't manage to catch Dorcas, so Dorcas will get out. But now, it's just not enough.
That's all the ults committed. Well, almost
and now
all
I mean, you just put yourself in that scenario by not holding up. One of the most important parts about Flashpoint is when you have point control and it's coming close to final fight, you need to hold as much space as you can. Be aggressive. Don't give them space to work with. If you give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile type of beat, you know? You don't want them to have that. You wanna be in their face and saying like, hey, you're not gonna get the point that easily. You're gonna have to fight through us and you're gonna have to expend ults to get through it. So now you're in a position where you have to win the next 3 Flashpoints in a row. There is no leeway for you to work with here. And Raptor will in fact now go to mirror this Maka, and I think Solar going to this on-run maybe will help out with alleviating this pressure, but I do just think this Reaper from Blank is going to be too much pressure, Caustic.
Yeah, I think the Reaper is going to be something difficult for them to deal with, but early on Raptor is going to try and jump onto Lumi. Lumi will jump out. Arlington will take down Dorcas. And now they're in a little bit of a difficult situation. Arlington will take down Mint as well. Lumi gets a free stomp onto the rest of the side of the Chaps. After trying their best to stay alive, not able to get at all. There they go. Mowgli, Lumi, and Arlington being the final kill havers for that map, or that point, that fight. Jeez, I'm losing my words. Mint, Aldreamton, and Dorcas have their ults. Solar and Raptor coming up on theirs relatively soon, but the ult economy question is going to be a big one in this one. Mint is going to use their ult. Finds 2 shots onto Mowgli, but dangerously low. You're going to see the cage get popped from Lumi. It takes down Solar. Mint's ult does not find a pick, sadly. Raptor is going to use their cage, however. Time is ticking. Arlington uses their high noon. Does not find a target. Dorcas is forced to use their beat. 10% left for the side of Novi. Solar will be able to force OT at a minimum. The Kitsune rush from Froyo will be popped. Dorcas goes to the point. Solar is on the point currently. Solar gets taken down before they can get their ult. It's just a question of Aldrington and Mint. Aldrington is not going to be able to force a touch. And the flashpoint will go to Novi as Novi takes the game in a 3-2 fashion. For
Very
your
unfortunate
Nationals
loss
quarterfinal.
for the Chaps, but you know, there are some lessons to be learned here and some progress to be made off the back of this loss. So, an unfortunate end to the run. I'm assuming that there is no lower stuff. I'm assuming it's only a single, Elam.
I would not know.
All right, well,
I can't necessarily say.
let's go over the scenarios. Assuming this is a single Elam, unfortunate loss, and you know you hope for a better run next time if there is one. If there is an Elam, a lower.